the Premier League is completing its set of matches before the World Cup begins. Next week is the final game. Then they're off for 4 weeks. It's a difficult and uncertain time for clubs. They don't know whether their players are going to be injured, and they don't know in what shape they'll be in when they come back. This has not been a great season for Liverpool, but one fact they know is that Mo Salah isn't going to the World Cup. He get 4 weeks rest, which I'm sure they'll be very grateful for. To discuss the weekend's matches, in which there were very, very important games in terms of the Championship and the top four, I'm joined now by Liam Brady and John Giles. Liam, Arsenal away to Chelsea. I watched the game and I was really impressed by them, as I have been quite a few times, but Chelsea are a step up from some of the teams that have been playing. They look now like a confident team, and they looked yesterday as if they wanted to win the match. They didn't go to Stamford Bridge to survive.
That's quite right, Eamon, yeah. And I thought they were particularly good in the second half. I thought the match in the first half, there was a lot of kind of stoppages with fouls. Both teams were fouling an awful lot.
Yeah.
But I still think that Arsenal shaded it in the first half, and Jesus could have scored with that diving header that just went past the post. But the second half, I thought they stepped it up even more, and they really bossed the game and kept the ball well. The goal, a bit fortunate, wasn't it? It was a bit of a kind of a scrappy one for a ball to go right across the 6-yard box like that from a corner kick. But, you know, in general, I thought they outplayed Chelsea and thoroughly deserved to win, with everybody playing well, Eamon, particularly Saliba at the back.
Yes.
And Partey in midfield.
Yeah, and the two lads out wide, Saka and Martinelli. Saka,
I thought they were a bit quiet. They got better in the second half, but I thought they were a bit quiet. But I thought Jesus led the line brilliantly again. You know, without scoring, he didn't score, but he played really, really well.
He did, yeah. John, we don't really associate Arsenal in recent years with the resilience, shall we say, to really get into a position in which they are at the moment top of the league, 2 points clear of Manchester City, but going to a place like Chelsea, who are also, you know, reckoned to be a top team, although they're not playing like a top team. I detect a transformation in Arsenal's attitude, which Arteta appears to have built into the team over a period of time.
Yeah, I thought they were very good, Eamon. I thought they were a much better team all round than Chelsea, and well deserved to win. You know, the stuff was good. Even when they got in front, they were prepared to go for another one, and they were a much better team. And I don't think Chelsea are a team yet, Eamon. There's a lot of talented players. I don't think Sterling's kicking a ball for them, to be quite honest. But I thought Arsenal were impressive. You know, they're top of the table, and they don't seem to be scared of it.
Yes, exactly.
You know, I think they believe, Arteta has them believing that they can do it. Yeah. You know? Yeah. And that's a huge transformation if a team really believes that they're up there and they deserve to be up there. They're very, very good and well deserved to win the match.
Yeah, now, Liam, a player that we've all been critical of for good reason, his indiscipline has hurt Arsenal very often when he's sent off for stupid tackles, is Xhaka. He appears to have been transformed in the past couple of months in terms, he's not involved in madness. He's a very good left peg. He is a good footballer, but he's not being distracted by the nonsense that we associate with it. We associated with him in the past. Is that real, Liam, do you think? And how much of a difference does it make to them as a team?
Well, you know, I was one of the people who thought he shouldn't be at the club, you know, after the way he played for a couple of seasons, Eamon. And as you mentioned, his indiscipline was never ending. I think he got sent off for a tackle one of the first games of the season last season against Manchester City. And I was kind of the opinion, why are we putting up with this guy, you know?
Yes.
But he has made a major change in his attitude and his outlook. And the Arsenal fans who were totally against him are very much with him now.
Yes.
I think he's playing a different position than when he played when he was so indisciplined. He's not playing that holding role anymore. If you watch him now, he's getting much more forward down that left-hand side. And he's actually getting in the box, and he's got himself a few goals this season as well.
Yep.
He did lose the head. Don't forget, he lost the head in the last minute again. And he was booked again. Was booked again. So he still has that in him. But he's been a lot better in that respect. But a major transformation in how he plays. And I think with parties, he seems to be the one that doesn't move out of that centre midfield role too much, whereas Xhaka now has license to go forward and go down that left-hand side and get in the box. And I think that's made a difference to his game and his confidence.
Yeah, John, Mikel Arteta was assistant to Pep Guardiola at City, and he's been at Arsenal. I think this is his third season now, but he has finally appears to have got a grip on Xhaka. He didn't give up on him, but also he's introduced young players into the side who appear to be playing with real confidence. He's doing a very good job, John, isn't he? And it's not the easiest club to manage because of the expectations and the past.
No, I think he's done a terrific job. I mean, sometimes it takes that amount of time, whether it's 2 years, 3 years, to do it right.
Yeah.
I mean, he had big decisions to make last season when he got rid of Aubameyang and one or two other players that weren't really doing it for him. I mean, once Aubameyang signed his big contract, he never kicked a ball for him. Mm-hmm. But he got him out of the club. And it does take time. And he's got young players in, very, very good, young, talented players. So he's on the right track now, Eamon.
Right.
It does take time to get on the right track, especially with a big club like Arsenal. Expectations are very, very high. But he's going the right way now. I think Arsenal are very, very impressive this year. Young players, but not scared of it.
Let me ask you about Chelsea. I want to ask Liam as well about Chelsea. Aubameyang has ended up at Stamford Bridge and was taken off after half an hour into the second half. Or no, actually, in the 64th minute, an hour into the game. But they have lost something, John. And Potter, we know, is a really good manager. They got a hiding when they went back to his old club, Brighton, last week. And in the game on Saturday, or rather yesterday, Arsenal were much more ambitious than them and outplayed them, I thought, particularly in the second half.
Yeah, Arsenal were very good, well deserved to win, Eamon. I think Potter has a big job to do there, Eamon.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, did he buy Aubameyang? Did he bring him into the club? You know, you got the American owner there, bought Sterling. You know, if you don't have the power to do it, it's very difficult to get the players in that you want, Eamon. And I don't think he has that control yet, if he ever gets it. You know, he's got a lot of talent, but he hasn't got a team. Exactly. Nowhere near a team.
Yeah.
So he's a lot to do. And the big problem he has, is he going to be allowed to do what he wants to do?
Yep. Liam, Raheem Sterling, he's going to be a starter, I would guess, for England in the World Cup. He played in all the European Championship matches last summer. He really wasn't a first-choice starter at City in the end. And he doesn't look to me as if he's having a real go.
No, with the World Cup in mind, I mean, if you were looking on a player on form, he wouldn't even get in the squad. Yep. He's been so bad for Chelsea.
Yep.
He's been dreadful. And that's something that Potter has to sort out. He didn't buy Raheem Sterling. He didn't take Aubameyang for Barcelona. They were there when he arrived at Chelsea. So he has real problems up front with those two. They look to me like players who've lost their hunger and appetite for the game.
Yes.
And they've obviously got huge bank balances. And I don't know whether they're too bothered about their football anymore. That's what the impression I get. You know, you have to be up for your football week in, week out if you're going to perform. And I'm not too sure those two are. And that's a big problem for Graham Potter to sort that out.
Now, yeah, and of course, if you have a boisterous high-profile owner who's actually making decisions and seen to be making decisions. A, they're usually the wrong decisions, and B, you can lose the dressing room in a big way if the players don't think that you're the man calling the shots. Let's move on, John, to Spurs-Liverpool. Another big game for top four positions, which is really what you think most of these clubs are playing for. If we say that City are hot favourites to win the league. Spurs-Liverpool. Liverpool got off to a great start. Mo Salah scored two goals, 2-0 up. Spurs come back with Harry Kane. But I want to ask both you and Liam about Trent Alexander-Arnold again. He pushed a forward in the box. It was, in my mind, a clear penalty, and the referee could see it. He was standing watching it. Would you agree it was a penalty? And what are we going to make of this kid who maybe will be in the England squad, although I'd be surprised. I don't think he'll be in the starting 11, do you?
I'd be very surprised if he is, Eamon. You know, there's a couple of the fullbacks that have been injured.
Yeah, but Trippier, it would be favourite.
Trippier is playing really well.
Yeah.
You know, I'd say Trippier would be the first choice at the moment to get into the team. But Trent Alexander, I mean, in the game, Eamon, I mean, what I saw, I only saw the highlights. I mean, his distribution, his long passes
was very good.
Was brilliant.
Yeah.
Absolutely brilliant.
Yes.
But when it comes to defending again, I know we've been on about it a long time. It was a definite penalty. I mean, I couldn't see how it couldn't be a penalty. I mean, he went out of his way from the ball, maybe 2 yards to push the fella out of the way or throw him on the ground. But how they didn't give a penalty, I do not know.
No,
and that not for the first time has he done that. I've seen him done fairly regularly. That he's near the ball, he just pushed the fella out of the way. So he got away with it. You know, what I saw in the match, I thought Spurs were very poor in the first half. Liverpool got in front, but they were hanging on.
They were hanging on,
from what I could see of the match in the second half. But a good win for them. Yeah,
Liam, Trent Alexander-Arnold, we all love flamboyant and brilliant football, the way he plays it. When he has the ball at his feet, and his distribution was great yesterday. Some long, raking crossfield passes. But his attempt to defend, really, he's learned nothing. And that would you agree with? Oh, I know you would, because we spoke about it last night. It was a penalty, wasn't it?
Yeah, I don't understand why the referee didn't give it. Probably, I think they said on Sky that his angle to see it wasn't great.
He was great. He was right behind it.
In VAR, well, this is what they said on Sky, and I'm just saying what they said on Sky. But for me, if that happens outfield, out of the box, the referee would give that 100% of the time. Now, whether he kind of bottled it or not, because it was such a big decision to give a penalty, but I couldn't understand it. Ryan Sessegnon was going across the ball. He got away from Trent Alexander for which he did a lot of the game. Get away from Alexander doesn't seem to sense any danger at all when people are coming around the back of him, and it was a definite penalty, absolutely. And he carried on having a bad time of it defending him. It was actually on Sky because it was Gary Neville who was doing the co-commentary I was watching. And he was really pointing out, because he played in that position, of how poor his positional sense is when he's playing right back for Liverpool. But I thought it was a real good game. Great finishing from Mo Salah, 2 brilliant finishes. Although Eric Dyer gave him the second one on a plate. Harry Kane's goal was great. It was a really good match. As John said, Tottenham weren't at their best in the first half, but they came on strong in the second half. Harry Kane got a great goal, and they gave Liverpool all the way. They ran Liverpool all the way to the 95th minute. It was a really good game to watch, but a big win for Liverpool, because they've been having such a bad time lately, results-wise, that to go to Spurs and win was a big feather in their cap.
Yeah, you know North London very well, Liam. The Spurs crowd booed the team off at half-time. they seemed to be booing Conte as well. And he was asked about it after the match, and he shrugged his shoulders and said, well, maybe he hinted that maybe he wouldn't be there so long. I think we all admire him, but are they particularly impatient, Spurs fans?
Oh, yeah.
Really?
And Arsenal fans can be a bit like that. Although Arsenal fans, they've got a lot to cheer about this year. But because we have a young team, I think the Arsenal fans are right behind the team.
Yeah.
At Spurs, they've got this kind of belief that they should play the game in a certain way, a flamboyant way. And it goes back to
Danny
the 60s when they won the league and they won the league and cup and won the season and they won cups and so forth, and a European Cup, Winners' Cup with great attacking play, and it goes back to then. That's what they think their DNA is. And Conte coming in, he's okay if he gets results. They live with it if he gets wins and things like that. But when they were 2 down and you see Eric Dyer making that mistake and Liverpool dominating the play when Tottenham are playing at home, they can turn on the team and the manager.
Yeah, John, Spurs won the double in 1961. It was the first time the Cup and League had been won by one club in the modern era. You know yourself, it was a very big achievement. And, of course, Danny Blanchflower was the leader, and the style of play was very much Spurs' thing.
Yeah.
But Conte demands a different kind of approach to the game, and you can see that he's not a happy camper. It doesn't look like one at the moment, does he?
Well, the crowds of Spurs, as Liam said, are very demanding.
Yeah.
If you look at what he's done since he's gone to the club, he spent very, very little money.
Yeah.
Like if you go back to the Spurs team, you say that won the double. I think Jimmy Greaves didn't play in that, but he came into Danny Blanchard, Dave Mackay. These were great players and a great team. But Conte doesn't have that type of player, that caliber of player now.
No.
I think he's performing brilliantly with what he has, Eamon.
Yeah, they're fourth in the league. Yeah, they're in the Champions League place at the moment.
Yeah, they won during the week. They were 1 down and they were going out aiming against Marseille, and they turned around and won 2-1. That's a huge result in the context of going forward in the season.
Yeah,
and he has had injuries. He didn't have Song yesterday. That Kudelski has just come back. He could make a difference when he's back fit. But I'm just trying to explain why Spurs fans can be a bit fickle in that way. They see Conte as being too defensive minded, too Italian, and they make their feelings known when they're not winning, and that's what happened yesterday.
Yeah, and there is a change you feel coming in the game. John, Southampton, Newcastle. Hasselhouten, the Southampton manager, looks like he's going to get sacked. He's been there for 4 years. They've had up and down times. They've sold players on him that I don't think they should ever have sold, but, that's the way that club is run. Newcastle really are, Newcastle United are third in the table, and Eddie Howe's done a really great job there. And they have this young lad, he's from Paraguay, Almiron. He's a goal machine. He's a bloody good player, John. I've watched him 3 or 4 times now. His all-round game is great, and he only needs a sniff. And he scored a fantastic goal at the weekend.
He's been excellent, Damon. He's getting the best out of him.
Yeah,
there's no doubt about it. I think he's a fairly young lad. He's inexperienced coming into it. And he's really, really shown what he can do.
Yeah.
Now you have to give the manager credit for that. Whatever way he's done it, he was very good. But Southampton were very disappointed, Eamon.
Yeah.
I think there was a right back. I can't remember his name now, particularly.
Maitland-Niles.
Not defending at all.
Yeah.
The people get round the back. The defenders, they look to me, Eamon, as if they were fed up with the manager and wanted to get rid of him.
Yeah.
I don't think he tried a leg defensively. Like Newcastle were very good. They killed them. But the way they played in a non-professional way, I thought for Southampton was outrageous. Absolutely outrageous.
Yeah, that right back is Maitland-Niles. You're right, Liam. they don't have the quality through the team now. They have one really outstanding player, who'll probably go with England to World Cup, Ward-Prowse, but they're doing well to be in the division, given the way they run the club. I mean, they sold Danny Ings for 23 million to Villa. Danny Ings is worth a lot more than 23 million, and they shouldn't be selling a player of that calibre anyway.
Yeah, well, as you say, they have a history of doing that, and it's probably going to cost them. They've done it down through the years and managed to stay in the division, but it's difficult to see, how they're going to turn things around now unless they spend money, Eamon, in the window, because they haven't got anyone who can put the ball in the back of the net. You mentioned Ward-Prowse. He's about the only top player they have, and they're struggling. But they go back to Newcastle. I think Eddie Howe, and he's getting really fine performances out of. Well, they're not star players, are they, Eamon? Almiron's come in, and he was hit and miss last year, but Eddie Howe's got 7 goals out of him.
Yep.
Joe Willock, who was at Arsenal as a kid.
Yeah, he scored yesterday. Yeah,
he scored. He chips in with a lot of goals. He's getting the best out of him, and let's not forget that he hasn't got his star striker Alexander Isak, who he paid like 58 million for.
Yeah,
he hasn't been playing in the last few games. So
yeah.
And Callum Wilson, don't forget him. He's had him at Bournemouth.
Yeah, he's a very good player.
He's getting goals from him. And Newcastle, with the financial power they have behind them now with the Saudi Arabians, will be thinking, right, we can be in the Champions League next year. There's no reason why we can't be, with watching how inconsistent Manchester United are and maybe Liverpool are this season. They'll fancy their chances of finishing in the top 4.
Yeah. Now, John, Aston Villa beat Manchester United 3-1. Poor old Stevie Gerrard. They picked up since he got the sack, and I watched the match. It was a very, very good performance indeed, and they were up for it. Now, the really interesting thing is the new manager they have. He managed Arsenal for a while, Liam, and he got the sack there, but he managed Sevilla. He's won the Europa League 4 times. And from Manchester United's point of view, they looked a way off it, John. That Ronaldo played, but they looked a way off.
And they were terrible, really.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought Manchester United were terrible. Yes, they really totally outplayed them from the start of the game because of their attitude to it. They were up for it. They were ready to go. New manager, but they have been playing quite well in the last couple of weeks. A little bit inconsistent, Villa, but they killed them.
Yeah.
Manchester United sometimes they're good, sometimes they're not. More not good than good. No consistency about them. They didn't look like a team at all yesterday. No. Villa killed them.
Now, Liam, this new manager, Unai Emery, he's a Spaniard. His only failure really was at Arsenal, and he didn't get long there, did he?
No, he didn't. And he is a very good manager. I don't think he was in control of the transfers at Arsenal, which was a problem at the time. And he didn't really get the chance to shape the team, but his track record, as you say, is very, very good. He did manage PSG as well.
Yes.
On the back of being so successful in Europe, but he couldn't win the Champions League there, and he paid the price. And then we got him at Arsenal, and he did a fairish job without doing a great job. So he's back again. You can see he's, the Premiership is where they all want to be because they earn the most money, the managers now. So
yes,
at the drop of a hat, he was left his club in Spain, and he was with Aston Villa, and it's a great start for him. You have to give the guy who took over from Steven Gerrard a bit of praise here, because he turned the team around completely, changed a lot of the players.
Yes.
The team spirit seemed much better. And I think that's 2 victories out of 3. I can't remember the chap's name, but he did a very, very good job.
Yeah.
So Villa looked like, mid-table and upwards this season. Manchester United, well, I didn't see the game. I only saw the goals, and the defence looked all over the place again. So I don't know. He might be a bit like Arteta. You have to give him 2 or 3 seasons, the manager there.
Yeah.
A real mystery. But United could very well finish out of the top 4 again, Eamon.
Yeah, John, one of the things we spoke about last week was Eriksen playing in midfield. We all admire him as a footballer, but you and Liam were praising him very highly, and I expressed doubt about his legs and his ability to actually be useful when you haven't got the ball. I thought in the match yesterday he was exposed a bit when United didn't have the ball. They didn't really have a midfield. They had Casemiro, who is really top-class player. They had Eriksen, and they had Van de Beek, who got a rare start yesterday. But they were killed in midfield, weren't they?
Yeah, they were killed all over the place, Eamon.
Yeah.
You know, like Eriksen is a very good player, as we know.
Yeah.
And he's getting on a bit now. But it was so bad all round.
Yeah.
It was hard to pick out who was at fault. They were all so bad, you know.
Yeah,
they were just not there. You know, there was nothing about them defensively, midfield, up front. They just looked like, well, certainly not a team, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And Villa were good, as you said, and Liam said it. Like, Villa were very, very good. They totally outplayed them. They had a good attitude to it. But United just went at the races. You know, they were terrible yesterday. Terrible.
Right. Now, Liam, finally to Manchester City and Fulham. Fulham have done really well, I think, this season. They're halfway up the table, and they have a very good manager, Marco Silva. He's a Portuguese coach. He was at Watford. He got Watford into the Premier League. They sacked him because they didn't win the Premier League. And he's been around, but he's back now. And I think this guy is a really good coach. It took City 94 minutes to break them down, and it was Haaland with a penalty, which the goalkeeper, Leno, wasn't he at Arsenal, Liam?
He was, yeah. He was. He went and to Fulham after a couple of seasons at Arsenal. Not a bad goalkeeper. He wasn't great at Arsenal. He was one of the signings that I think Emery had to put up with. You know, they were bringing him in. Yeah, so
he guessed right for the penalty, but his two went under his body.
Yeah, but you have to give City credit, Eamon. They were down to 10 men after half an hour, weren't they? You know? And as you say, Fulham are not a bad outfit this season. Silva has done a very good job, and I watched Everton on Saturday, and looking at them, they could do with some organisation there. They looked a poor team, and they could be in a relegation fight this season as well. But I thought Manchester City did well, Eamon. I thought they did well to come back from going a man down, and to get it over the line. And Haaland once again, although it wasn't his best penalty, but he managed just to squeeze it in the corner. Yeah,
he admitted after the match actually that he was nervous, which is good to know that some circumstances, because he's some player, John, isn't he? Some athlete.
Haaland, he only come on late in the game, and you think early on.
Yeah.
And Cancelo, the lad that was, he's inclined to do what he did and get sent off.
Yes.
It was a silly tackle in that way and put them down to 10 men.
Yeah.
I didn't see the whole match, Eamon, but from City's point of view, obviously they kept playing to get the penalty, and it was a big win for them the way the table is at the moment. But I think the lad at Fulham's done a really big job.
Yeah, he's very good.
Really big job. I mean, if you look, he's hardly spent a penny. I mean, I don't think he has any. He lost players as well, got promotion, and is well out of the relegation zone.
Oh, absolutely,
I thought there were certainties to go down.
Yeah,
and he's done a really big job. Really big job.
Now, John, you were in Leeds at the weekend, I know, celebrating your birthday. So I was very relieved when you picked the phone up this morning. Leeds, John, 4-3. They were 2-1 down at half time to Bournemouth.
Yeah,
came back.
I think the crowd were booing them, Eamon.
Were they?
Apparently. half time coming off, and that the manager was getting a bit of stick. And that, I'd say, I mean, it was a typical Leeds performance.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
Because they're all or nothing. You know, when they're attacking, it's like 10 players attacking. They score. I think we get that inconsistency all season.
Yes.
You know? Where they lose a lot of goals, they score a lot of goals. Because once they're attacking. Everybody's attacking. There's no defending at all.
Yeah.
You know?
You were with Eddie Gray, weren't you?
Yes.
And what's the feeling there among the old boys who made the club's name really as a big club?
Yeah, well, Eddie sort of is a works for the club,
right?
You know, and I think he feels the same as most of us do.
Yeah,
there's a lot of credit in the way a manager does what he does.
Yeah, Jesse Marsh.
It's a bit like Bielsa. That's what Bielsa did in many ways. Like when they're attacking, everybody attacks.
Yeah,
you know. So I think they'll be inconsistent because on the day, like they score 4 goals at the weekend, as we know.
Yeah,
and they go down. And that's the way they're going to be. I think there'll be some matches he'll say, oh, that doesn't work. And there'll be other matches, oh, they were brilliant. They'll certainly be entertaining.
Yes.
There'll be no sitting back,
no.
You know, that's for sure. But it's whether you can have the balance to really defend well when they have to defend well. You know, they're going to have to score. When they're on top, they're going to have to score goals, you know, because they could lose goals very, 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 very easily. Would they be exciting? But then again, the fans at half time were booing them off near enough.
Yeah.
Getting on to the manager. Of course, when you win the way they win, they're all heroes again. But I think from the Leeds point of view and looking at them, I think that's the way they're going to be, Eamon.
Yeah,
and I think they'll have enough to stay up, you know?
Right. Liam, just a final question to you. West Ham lost at home to Crystal Palace, where Patrick Vieira appears to be doing a really, really good job. But David Moyes, who has got West Ham into Europe and they're in the Europa League, he's really struggling now. They're down not too far away from the dead men. Took the lead in the match, still couldn't win it at home. He's a very good coach, Liam, David Moyes, very highly respected in the game. But West Ham are back where they were for so many years if they fall in to that bottom 3.
Yeah, they had a great season last year, Eamon, as you say. They got to the final of the Europa, and they were operating at the top of the table for a long time. They fell away a bit towards the end of the season, and then he got money to spend. I think he got backing from the board to spend some money, but the boys don't seem to have settled in yet, and they are very inconsistent. They'll get a good result, a bit like Leeds, as John was explaining.
Yes.
They get a good result one week and then they go and blow it in the next match. But Moyes will be under a bit of pressure there, more so from the fans than any. I don't think he was a popular choice for the fans.
Right.
But he got them on side last year when they were so good. But this season, I hear there's rumblings. Do you know what I mean?
I do.
So
yeah.
Watch that space, type of thing. But I think Moyes has done a great job for West Ham. But the fans are fickle. The expectation after last year is that West Ham would be up top 6, top 7. It's not happened this season, and the manager comes under pressure.
I've played for a lot of clubs where there were rumblings. It's one of the abiding sounds of my career. Liam Brady and John Giles, who never caused any rumblings except in the opposition. We're grateful to Liam and to John.